is Friday night. You know what that means. It's time for the Australian Nascar eSeries. We have got the trucks racing here at Hotlanta. We're in Atlanta, USA, Atlanta Motorsports Speedway. We've got 45 laps of action coming your way. My God, I can't believe I balked on that. Let's have a quick look. Actually, I think it's 135 laps. I think the 45 lap one was my race today. Let's go to the horrible screen and just have a quick. Yeah, 135 laps. This one is going to be a mammoth race. A lot of endurance going to be needed in this one. Atlanta, not your sort of typical super speedway, so you can't just put your foot down and go for it. You have to control some of that speed through the turns, save some of that tyre wear, and try and last out those pit stops. All right, let's get over to the live screen. My bad. I apologise. Of course, the Truck Series is brought to you by Beat the Dark. They are the Truck Series sponsors. And sorry, I'm totally not just scrolling through. Oh, I was trying to scroll through my notes, and I was wondering why I couldn't find what I was looking for, and it's because I was looking in all the wrong places. All right, looks like practice has finished. We've got 31 drivers, I believe. Maybe more, 35, I believe, at least. So we could have a full lobby of 40 trucks possible tonight, qualifying the first car heading out. That looks like Jason Holdsworth. Brent Hobbs there. Let's get a better look at the track. There's the 64 of Brent Hobbs, as I mentioned. All right, that is Nathan Button, 167. All right, the boys got 5 minutes to get out and do their 2 laps. Obviously, they will grid up in order of quickness. Now, as I mentioned before, Beat the Dark is the fantastic team that the Truck Series is powered by. The inception of Beat the Dark stems from a profound awareness of people grappling with uncertainty, anxiety, and depression. Now, while originally formed for the iRacing platform, Beat the Dark is a message applicable to all walks of life. Beyond its existence as an iRacing team, the Beat the Dark logo stands independently. You should see that in the top right of your screen as it scrolls through. We believe the power of iRacing and the camaraderie it fosters to provide solace during challenging times. iRacing and online gaming serves as platforms that unite individuals from diverse backgrounds and age groups. Now, the distinctive colours of the logo symbolise both genders, and the striking face represents the modern-day crusader advocating for social change. Now, the hope is that by promoting this awareness, individuals can embrace their true selves, initiate honest conversations, and if our efforts can assist even one person struggling, we consider it a worthwhile endeavour. So for the second week in a row, let's extend a warm welcome to Beat the Dark as they sponsor the Truck Series here tonight. It's a great message, and you can tell, obviously, there's a lot of different people in this race, so diversity and age at its most, definitely in an iRacing race. All right, we've got some good times coming through. 31 seconds to 34 is the lap time. 31.890. That is our quickest time. Jason Holdsworth in the 11 machine. He's got Nathan Button behind him, 31.925. 31.950 was Darren McKenzie, but they've both moved to third and fourth as Ron Thompson logs a 31.895, just 500ths of a second off of pole position. Then we get to fifth place, Daniel Stevens. He's got a 31.974, 31.980 for Stuart Patterson. Devon Stove with a 31.994, 31.998 for Aaron Gilbert. Now we've also got a couple of guys whose names aren't fully mapped out yet. Again, Wilson, 32.036. Cam Galley, 32.042. 32.042 also in equal 10th and 11th spot is Scott back there in 12th. Wayne Taylor with a 32.044. We'll just check quick times. Note they haven't changed too much. Let's have a look there now. Alex Stelbovics with a 32.065 in 30. There's a lot of names. I think we might just go through the people in their positions and not their times. 14th will be Ryan Preston. Paul Curran currently 15th. Nigel Siddell in 16th. Ben Vickers and Bryce Medding 17th and 18th. Marty Mitchell, Stephen Williams 19th and 20th. Henry King in. We just had a few shuffled down. Ethan Curran with a 32.007, moving himself up into ninth on the leaderboard. That's going to push all the boys down. So Stephen Williams initially in 20 will be in 21st. Henry King at 22nd. Adam Johnson and Adam Holland in 23 and 24. 25th is Brent Hobbs. Reese Dickerson in 26th. 27th, Adam Tice, I believe that is. Brian J. Blundell. I almost said Brian James Blundell then. 28th. 29th, Chris Ferris. Tim Blundell in 30th. Then let me just see. I think that might be the qualifiers for now. But having 30 cars qualify, not sure if it's mandatory in in this league or if some of those guys just running a bit late or what. But having 30 cars qualifying in a 40 car possible field is amazing. It's 37. Sorry, there's 37 I can see that has registered for tonight's race. This, of course, is the Australian Nascar eSeries. It's trucks, the Nascar trucks powered by Beat the Dark. All right, looks like that is the end for qualifying. So we are only going to have the 30 qualifiers. So the guys taking up the rest of that field. Back there in 31st, Ruben Phelps, Matthew Raymond, Lachlan. Oh, we had this struggle last week, and Equijo. It's Equijo, that's right. Adam Malone, Andy J. Barber. Then we'll just wait for the rest of my screen to update at my end. Gareth Anderson and Kelvin Clark. All right, so we start to see the cars take the grid. Just to go over that top 10 grid again, those first 5 cars, also that you can see on our screen. So Jason Holdsworth will have pole position. Ron A. Thompson will start outside him. Behind them, Nathan Button and Darren McKenzie. Daniel Stevens and Stuart L. Patterson on the third row. Fourth row will be Devon Stove and Aaron Gilbert. Fifth row, Ethan Curry alongside Wilson. Cam Galley will be alongside Scott on that sixth row. Seventh row, Wayne Taylor, Alan Stabovics. On that, that's the seventh row. Yeah, eighth row, Ryan Preston and Paul Curran. I lost my train there. And then on the eighth row, I did eighth row. Ninth row, Nigel Sordell, Ben Vickers. 10th row, Bryce Meddings and Marty Mitchell. I apologise, guys. It has been a long day, but we are here. We have racing, 135 laps of Hotlanda Motor Speedway. Just waiting for Ron Thompson. He's got 30 seconds to get his car down to that grid in that outside pole position. Otherwise, he will be starting from the pits, and you do not want that. 31.890 was the quickest time. 31.894 was Ron Thompson's time. There he is, the 22. We have a bit of a soft spot for the 22. A couple of drivers that we do broadcast have that number, and it's a bit of a, or I've raced with, have raced that number, so it's a bit of a special one. So I'm glad you got there, Ron. Plus, having the 11 and 22 just looks cool on the front row. All right, so the boys will come out once they get in 3 and 4. Pace car, will look to leave the track, and we will get this 135 lap race underway. That is mammoth. These guys are in for. See, I try not to do anything over 60 laps. 60, 80 laps is probably my limit, and even then, geez, the arms are hurt. So props to these guys. All right, 37 cars. That means they're like, what, 18 rows deep? That is a lot of 2x2 side-by-side racing. You remember NASCAR racing, obviously lines will be very important, inside and outside lines. more they cooperate, the better they will go. So let's see who's hungry for positions up early and who's happy just to sit in and just follow the car in front of them for a few stops, because you've got at least what you got, probably 2 stops minimum in this race. So yeah, you just want the first third of it, the what, say 40 laps, to just be cruising, just race, just drive. We're off and going. So Jason Holdsworth, Ron Thompson, Nathan Barton, Darren McKenzie, Daniel Stevens, Stuart L. Patterson, Devon Stove, Aaron Gilbert, Ethan Curran, Wilson, Galley, Scott, and Taylor round out the top 13. That is all my relative is able to show me right now. As you can see there straight away, Jason and Ron, they're off to a great start. They're lining up behind each other. Ron's not getting too close, but staying a good enough speed that he's right there behind him. He's able to take advantage of that. Jason will get a little bit of speed. They'll be able to push away if that line behind him doesn't tidy up a bit. That guy on the outside, who is that? That is Darren McKenzie. Not to pick on you, Darren, but just try and slot in down behind that 167 at Nathan Button. Nope, looks like he's got a teammate up there on the high line now, so he can stay up there and get that push. Alright, we're back here in like the 10th position. That brown 136 Cam Galley. He's got Scott Wilson in front of him and behind him, plus a number of other cars, as they pretty much do what I expected, and that is try and stay as too wide as possible. Just follow the car in front of you, hope he follows the car in front of him, and so on, and race. So yeah, look for this one. You don't want anyone to make a mistake early. Say, as I say, 40 laps would be cruise control almost. Down that back stretch for the 4th time. The line is so long that by the time the guys at the back of the pack are leaving 2, the guys up the front already entering 3. So that's quite a long pack up the front, though. Jason Holdsworth, Ron Thompson still doing their thing. Darren McKenzie's there. Nathan Button, Daniel Stevens, Stuart Patterson, Aaron Gilbert, Devon Stove, Wilson, Ethan Curran, Scott, Alan Steele, Bovics. That is the 12th, 13th, Cam Galley. Paul Curran's there behind him. Wayne Taylor and Ben Vickers, I believe, rounds out the 15. Brooks, good morning, sir. I got some Hotlanta action. Trucks at Atlanta. That's quite a bit hard to say, so I'm going to say trucks at Hotlanta. That flows a bit easier for me. How are you, bro? I'm going to say bruv and something else. I know they're calling you boy. Sorry, bro. Alright, it's pretty much 2nd or 6th lap, same as the last one. I was trying to do something there and I screwed it up. No real positional change. Looks like a couple of guys might be already in the pits. Not sure what's happened there. The 651 of Marty Mitchell and Adam Johnson, the 229. May have had an off-the-pack collision, not enough to call a yellow. If they get down below that line, caution generally does not come out. It's more about track obstruction. I think that's the right word. Oh, touch my mic. Alright, looks like the 651, the 229 leaving the pits as the boys come screaming past that start-finish line. I appreciate you, man. I do appreciate you. Thank you for spending your time watching this, man. Appreciate it. I know breaks aren't plentiful. Alright, so we're still back on the 13 there. He's the white and purple on the high line. He's got the 32 below him. That is 10th and 11th spot. That's Scott and I believe Cam Galley. But just a good view of the top 10 as well as the back 10 just cooperating, trying to sort of get, as I say, get through this first quarter, first third of this race. Seems the 651 back in the pits. 229 still out, so whatever issue was affecting the 651, obviously not fixed, so he's back in there. Maybe he didn't repair a lot of the car and thought I'll get out and check it out and wasn't happy, so he's back in the pits. But a lot of stops still to come, a lot of laps. You can race your way back into it. You might not win it from 37th, but you'll definitely do better. Definitely encourage Marty Mitchell to get that car back out on the track the moment he can. Right now, though, we're watching the 136 of Cam Galley. He's alongside Alex Stelbovics. Up in front of them, the 32 and the 13. That's Scott and Ethan Curran. And we've got about, the top 10, maybe 11 in front of that. That is Jason Holdsworth still leading this pack. Darren McKenzie. Looks like Darren might have moved up. Let's get back up to the front and have a look at that lineup, just because I believe Jason Holdsworth and Ron Thompson, like they were pushing for a while, but Darren McKenzie in the O2 machine, he's up there on the outside line leading that group. If you can get that, 57 of Daniel Stevens to push up a little bit more on the back of his car, then that will help. But it looks like Daniel just happy to run his line at this point, not really concerned about what the car in front of him is doing. Now, if the 167, Nathan Button, if he joins up with the 22 and the 11, that could be pretty interesting because they will sort of be able to push out. I feel like the 11 and 22 holding back at this stage, though, not really giving it all they can. Just based on the levels of cooperation, I feel like they would have pulled away a little bit further than they had. Just very close runnings at the moment. The top of the outside line alongside the second place of the inside line, as we see there. Oh, you got to watch that line 11. Just in case the O2's down a little bit too much and you think you can sort of go up to that mid-pack. Sometimes there's a lot of gap between them. Sometimes there's not as we come over the start-finish line. Lap 15, sorry, of 135. It sounds so weird to say there are so many laps still to come here. Looks like the 651 back out on the track. Looks like something might have happened to the one as well. He's back there with them just a little bit off the pack. So look for those three to team up. Maybe 165 and 229. That is Adam Johnson, Adam Malone, and I missed the last name. Oh my gosh. Yep, still pretty routine up the front. Let's jump back around the track a little bit and have a look at some of these other cars. The one heading in to the pits. Marty Mitchell was the other car. Adam Johnson, Marty Mitchell, and Adam Malone. Adam Malone back in the pits. You can see there, we're back there with the pink 05 Paul Curran. While not completely straight, and the couple of cars behind him there, the 136 and I believe the 62 of Henry King are relatively lined up, pretty much back behind them. 15th and back. It does look a little uncoordinated, like they're sort of no one really grabbing that outside line, pushing up. Maybe they're hanging back. As I say, there's a lot of laps. I don't want to put too much broadcasted judgment on them, but yeah, you don't want to fall too far back. At the moment, I can see via my own special eyes that from the 11, who is the leader, Jason Holdsworth, all the way back to the 777, Kevin Clark in 34th place. They are pretty well grouped together. They are basically on someone's draft air. So, yeah, it's looking good. So many Purdy designs. Yeah, people that do the paints are crazy. That's why I get people to do them for me. But able to see them. I think on our first week there might have been a problem and not all the paints had come through for some reason. So no, I feel like we're we're definitely seeing a lot of coordinated colours. We can see teams and similar designs, so I feel like we're getting the right ones now. All right, the 20th time down this straightaway, backstretch, sorry, into the 3 and 4. Straightaway is this portion with the little slight dogleg start-finish line. As I say, we're about the halfway mark of the uneventful racing portion of this race. I don't think it'll get much more eventful after that point. Though them Blundell lads. Hey Pete, thanks for joining in on YouTube, buddy. Appreciate it. He's referring to Tim and Brian Blundell. Tim, I can see Tim on the leaderboard. He's currently in 25th as our first crash. Oh no, what has happened? I was looking at the leaderboard to look for Brian, who I believe is back in 32nd. Let's just go back and that's so slow. Why is it not going faster? Right, let's get up to the lead. Let's see what happened there. I'll catch it in time. Oh, there we go. So yeah, the 22 just below the line, the O2. And I did mention it before. It looked like the O2 was sort of coming down that line a little bit further. And that has caused quite the accordion effect back down through that field. We see a number of cars affected. The 22 and the 167 already in the pits. Look for these cars to get themselves cleaned up and get themselves back out there again. Let's see if anyone goes into the pits for fuel as well. Some of them still have a lap to go while we get this cleaned up. Looks like Jason Holdsworth, Daniel Stevens, Henry King, Wilson, Scott, Curran, Galley. They were the only real survivors of all of that. As we see a lot more cars go into the pit. We do see Nathan Button was 7th place. He's in the pits. Ron A. Thompson, Darren McKenzie, Tim Blundell, Brian, Adam Holland, Adam Johnson's in there. That was a bit of a mess, but 23, about halfway through, I think, the portion of where they want to pit. But as we can see there, a number of cars definitely taking advantage of the opportunity to get in and just get a bit more weight in the truck, add a bit more fuel back into it, and regroup and rebuild. Still 112 laps to go in this race. So yeah, plenty of time. Looks like a couple of the guys have stayed out. Trying to check it out from the pace. We can see there Tim and Brian Blundell. Looks like they stayed out. There's a wave around for someone. That's the 229 of Adam Johnson. But yeah, behind the pace car, we've got Tim and Brian Blundell, Jason Holdsworth, Henry King's there. I think we can see Marty Mitchell just behind him. Yep, there's Marty. There's the 058. That, of course, Wayne Taylor. .950 of Adam Holland. The 1 of Adam Malone. There's the 13. That is Scott. And then Nigel Seidell's back there as well. A couple of those cars still in the pits. The 22, a bit of damage. So he's definitely working through some things. And I believe the 64 possibly. Looks like the 777 going in. Oh, 1 to green. That is definitely your cue to get out of the pits. It's going to be Jason Holdsworth and Henry King on the front row. Wayne Taylor and Scott on that second row. Third row, Nigel Seidel, Gareth Anderson, Lachlan Urquidge on the fourth row with Ruben Phelps, Adam Tyson, Alex Stelbovics, Devon Stove, Reese Dickinson. Then we've got Matthew Raymond, Cam Gilly, Ben Vickers, Stephen Williams, Chris Ferris, Ethan Curran, Brett Wilson. No, Brent Hobbs, sorry, Wilson is next to him. Kevin Clark, Daniel Stevens, Andrew J. Barber, Aaron Gilbert, Stuart L. Patterson, Bryce Meddings, Ryan Preston, Tim Blundell, Brian Blundell, Paul Curran. Looks like we might still have, can't quite see if the 950, the 229, Adam Holland, Adam Johnson are out there, Nathan Button, Darren McKenzie, so we'll have to wait and see at the start. Looks like a few of those guys may have retired. Paul Curran may have been one of them. Best GT Gamer go, Tim. That is Tim Blundell. Currently in 28th as we get this race back underway. And off that start, Jason Holdsworth, geez, he got off to a beautiful start. Some of those guys sort of sleeping on that restart zone maybe. We see that inside line a lot deeper than that outside line, but it depends on how much of it is cooperating with the rest of it, so we'll have to wait and see as they get up to full speed, come around, start, finish line, start the second lap of this restart. Just the one caution so far, 27th lap is the lap we're on now. Caution was brought out by the prior second and third place. Just one car coming up a little bit off the low line and the other car a little bit lower than the higher line. And unfortunately, contact was made. Accordion effect through the field was seen. Whoa, that was an abrupt change to the static cams there, bud. Alright, we're just going to jump in the static cams to the lap just to see that speed. I don't have speed display on my screen, actually, I don't believe. So, I tried to check something and the system had a fit. There we go, I've fixed it. Let's get off that camera for gosh sakes. That is loud and just the cameras shake. Alright, our current race leader, Jason Holdsworth and Henry King, battling it out. It is hard to tell who's really got it at this stage. Let's get back up the front and just have a look at this. Because I feel like there is a lot of action happening up the front. Henry King, possibly our race leader. But where is he? He's on the high line. He's being pushed by the 13 of Scott. They're going to make a run for it. Do you think Henry's going to take Scott with him past the 11 of Jason Holdsworth, getting both down into second and first rather than dropping in front of Jason and leaving that 13 high and dry? Let's see what they do. Lap 30 of 135. We've got the best angle for it right now. We also see Wayne Taylor and Nigel Seidel back there in second and third on the inside line. Technically fourth and fifth on the leaderboard. Alright, I feel like they've got that momentum. I feel like the outside line is most certainly cooperating better. Henry King and Scott definitely doing a lot better than, say, Jason Holdsworth and Wayne Taylor there, but just not enough speed to get that 13 past the 11. And as I say, that's what you want. You want that in a pusher because you want to keep the guy that got you there. If you pass a guy for the lead, he's not generally inclined to want to push you further into the lead. But it is quite early, 32 of 31, 35, so we'll have to wait and see. But look at that. Took them a couple extra laps, but they've done it. Are they going to drop down and consolidate that run, or is there a slight speed difference? I think there's enough room for both to drop down, but I feel like they've gone, hey, look, this is what got us here. Maybe staying up high a little bit too long, run out of air. Side line starting to catch back up. There's a bit of exciting racing up the front here for 33 of 135 laps. Obviously nothing too crazy and really just, you know, running the paces, testing yourself out, sort of seeing how the car operates at certain speeds, I guess, conditions. Because, you know, you've got a couple more stops, you've got a couple of sets of tyres to play with. So just feeling things out at the 33 lap mark. 102 laps still to come as we cross that start finish line. Alright, I feel like those guys are locked in the way they are. They like it, they're comfortable. The speed's good. Let's jump back through the pack a little bit, see what else is going on. Better look down that line. You can see how far they're too wide. Pretty much 6 to 7, maybe 8 deep. 16 cars too wide as far back as the eye can see. Alright, believe it or not, folks, but after this lap, there will be less than 100 laps remaining. Just the one caution so far. Came out on lap 22. A little bit of real estate confusion between a couple of cars. Caused a number of them to go into the pits. Looks like Paul Curran has retired. There are still 3 cars in the pits, so just 29 cars on the lead lap. But 33 still in this race. So, yeah, as I say, the only way you're going to better your position, stay in as long as you can and hope that it's longer than some of the guys in front of you. Oh my god, I was on mute. I coughed earlier and I bumped my mute to stop. I was on there and you didn't hear all that. Still too wide as far back as you can see there. Looks like Henry King still officially our race leader. Jason Holsworth battling him on the other line though. Scott and Seidel helping out. Alright, 40 of 135 has just come to an end as the boys get to that start finish line. 41 is a go. Did forget to send a note to my boys down in the pits to get an idea of what the pit window actually is. So I'm in the dark, I guess, just as much as the drivers are. There's the 167 of Nathan Barton. He's trying to catch up to that pack. Look around the group of cars. There's still the main pack of the 52, which is Henry King in the lead all the way back to the 777, which I believe is in... Yes, the 777, 28th. So basically the draft pack is 1st to 28th still at this time. That's pretty good. You'd have to be pretty happy no matter where you run then, because you're still with the main group. You're going to be able to go into the pits when they do and keep up that sort of same lap racing, I guess I was trying to say. Those just tuning in, wondering what this is, well, you're probably looking and going, oh, this is NASCAR racing. This is the Australian NASCAR eSeries, Friday nights, 8 p.m. Australian, live on Bobith TV, on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. This is the NASCAR trucks at Hotlanta Motor Speedway, powered by Beat the Dark. We're coming up on about a third of the way. Third of the way into the race. 44 laps, will be 45 laps momentarily of 135. These guys still a lot of racing. Still at least one, maybe. I've got to say two. I feel like two pit stops. I'm not sure what their maximum fuel capacity is in terms of how many laps you get, but I feel like it's around the 40 mark. So if the boys went in at 22 and were able to fill that back up, probably only used a third of their tank, so they'll be getting to at least halfway, if not more by now. Darren McKenzie, Ron Thompson are still in the pits. Not much changed up the front. We saw there on the wide cam, Henry King still staying with the push on the high line. He loves the high line. I feel like he must be able to hold it a little bit tighter, a little bit faster around the turns. That inside line, you can't really hold it flat without costing a bit of rubber on that front right tyre, and that's your main one. That's the one that gives you all that left-hand turn. Key sort of visual identifier is if a car's slowing down on the turn, it means the car tends to push as they come around at a certain speed, but if you do see a car sort of floating up the track on the turn, it means, yeah, too much speed. The wheel's not gripping enough to get them to carry at that level, so they've got to back off a bit, and sometimes that can hurt. You can be 3 to 5 kilometers off the pace, and that's all it really takes for laps. I mean, we're talking, you know, tenths and hundredths of a second difference. The boys racing out of 3 and of 4. The brown 136. That's Cam Galley. He is in at 10th spot. He's going to move up into 9th actually, as Devon Stowe falls back, but Trey Wilson falls back into 10th. It seems to be where the I guess not exciting racing or good racing, but just the common sense, the proper. Hey guys, whoa, we saw one car just come down from the outside line into 3rd place on the inside line there. I believe that is going to be Gareth Anderson, possibly. See that high line start to drop off now that they've lost that extra car or with Nigel Seidel and Scott, it looks like. It could be Bryce Meddings. We'll have to wait and see. Get up to the front and just have a look at that lead racing. Yeah, we see there Jason Holdsworth, Henry King, side by side, Scott and Seidel, side by side, then Gareth Anderson, Bryce Meddings is there as well. Sorry, Bryce Meddings, then Gareth Anderson. Get that right. The 6 car, Bryce Meddings, he's on that low line. Gareth Anderson, he's up higher a bit. He's the pusher of Henry King. No, he's not. That's the 13, Bob. That's Scott. Scott is pushing Henry King. looks like the 167, Nathan Button, back out on the track, still trying to get onto that pack. It looks like the lead pack will catch up to him in a few laps, and he might be able to just get out of the way of him, but keep that speed and hopefully tack on the end of it. That'll help him chip away at a few laps if he can. Sometimes it pays to slow down a little bit, let that pack catch up, and get out of the way and tack on, and just, as I say, yeah, ride it. Alright, and you see that outside line start to get back into the groove of things. It's almost 5 deep. It is 5 deep, but they're not quite in line 6 deep now. Still the 13 and the 52, Henry King and Scott. Scott has been the faithful pusher all this time. He did have no, it was the 13. It was always the 13 because he was, I was talking about him dropping down in front of the 11. Oh, it looks like he has abandoned Scott. He's going to drop down to the inside line. Take Jason Holdsworth as a potential pusher. Let's see what happens here. Scott's going to take the lead in the outside line with the 136 of Cam Galley. Back behind them, Nigel Seidel, Devon Stove, Bryce Meddings, Reese Dixon, Daniel Stevens, Alice Sex. Oh, Bryce is falling back down through the pack a bit. Has something happened, or did he just pull out? Maybe, some of them might have gone into the pits there, it looks like. Jason Holdsworth definitely did. The 00 as well. Looks like the 85. Interesting move there by Jason Holdsworth. Get in now. He definitely does not. We don't want to jinx it, but if a caution came out right now, that would be interesting. Now, after that little reshuffle with the pits, looks like Scott's push of Henry King has paid off because he's now our race leader coming to the 58th lap. No, down the backstretch there. I saw the 52 just drop straight off the pack and thought he was going into the pits, but it looks like he is, but entering via 3 and 4 under the yellow, well, under the red, I guess, in this instance at Hotlanta. A few guys stopping under green. Now, look, as I say, don't want to jinx it, but generally within 3 or 4 laps of that happening, you can often, if you're lucky, or unlucky, depending on who you are, see a caution. Right now, though, the 80 of Devon Stove, he's taken over the race lead. Scott's on the high line above him. Scott's got the 136 of Cam Galley. Devon Stove's got Reese Dickerson. They look to be about the same deep. I think the inside line might have one extra car tacked on the end. He does. And then they look pretty single file back there behind them. Obviously coming into that pit window here. Thought it was around 40 laps. As I say, they pit around 22. So anywhere between 58 and 64 would look like the time to pit. New race order though at the moment. Scott is in the lead. Devon Stove second. Cam Galley third. Reese Dixon fourth. Daniel Stevenson in fifth. Nigel Seidel and Stephen Williams sixth and seventh. And we've got Bryce Meddings and Aaron Gilbert eighth and ninth. Alex Stelbovics rounds out the 10. Ben Vickers, Chris Ferris, Brent Hobbs, Ethan Curran, Andy J. Barber. That's 11 to 15. Tim Blundell, Adam Tice Wilson, Lachlan Urquijo, Lachlan 18th and 19th. And we've got Ruben Phelps in 20th. 21st to 25 will be Kelvin Clark, Matthew Raymond, Brian James Blundell, Stuart Peterson, and Adam Johnson. And we've got Adam Holland, Jason Holdsworth, Henry King, Gareth Anderson, Wayne Taylor, Ryan Preston, Marty Mitchell, Adam Malone, Nathan Button. They are the remaining racers in this race. Now, I mentioned before some of those guys, obviously if you're a lap down or whatever, stick with it. A lot of those guys are no longer a lap down. They've managed to race their way back into it. Some of the lead guys from our first, say, third of the race, now back in 27th to 30th there with Jason Holdsworth, Henry King, Gareth Anderson, and Wayne Taylor. So let's see how this lap traffic goes there as I look at the screen a little bit more intently and see the 167 Nathan Button just trying to sort of stay out of the way as a couple more cars look like they're going to go into the pits. Nope. I thought there was some guys, maybe they just dropped below the red to fall back a little bit. Up the front, still Devon Stove and Scott battling it out. Looks like Scott has the slight advantage with the push from Cam Galley. Reese Dickinson is going to do what he can in the 14 car on the inside line. They've got the 69 and Nigel Seidel back there behind them as well. Lap 63. Come on, Bob, let's do some maths. So 65 laps would be 135. So we're almost at the halfway mark, maybe 3 or 4 laps to go. These guys, just the one caution so far. It has been a mammoth 42 green flag lap run. We've seen some pitting under green because of it. That fuel window just got a little bit close for some people. Decided to go in a bit early and get some fuel. Some of the guys still out though, so not sure if it's because of the hard racing or whether they just went, you know what, I'm going to do it because I feel like there's not going to be a caution for a little while the way everyone's racing. A lot of strategies in play. Some of those cars that's on that first part of the dog leg and the second part, just cut it off a little bit. I don't think it's a penalty sort of race. I think it's one of those you all agree if it's cool or not type of thing. I don't think it is cool in actual NASCAR, but not my league. I just broadcast it. It is the Australian NASCAR eSeries NASCAR trucks, powered by Beat the Dark. Friday nights, Bobbeth TV. 19 rounds of action. So this is round 2, guys. Round 2, lap 67 of 135. And if you thought that was big, there's still 17 more races to come. So these guys, they're going to have guns of steel by the end of this series. I feel like you might see a few, if there's any sort of consistent winners, you might see them drop off after 3 or 4 races because that's going to be hard to just keep up that level of consistency at 100, 130 or 140 lap races. That is just ridiculous. Fun if you can do it, but alright, so still Devon Stove, Bryce Meddings, then we've got Scott, Nigel Seidel, Reese Dickinson, that is the 5. 10 will be Alex Delbovics, Cam Galley, Ben Vickers, Daniel Stevens, Stephen Williams. That's a nice little segue. Tim Blundell, Chris Ferris, Aaron Gilbert, Wilson and Hobbs. Brent Hobbs in 15th. Then we've got Ethan Curran, Andy J. Barber and Adam Tice, Lachlan Akijo and Ruben Phelps. That's 16th to 20th. These guys, oh my gosh, how are they still racing? Halfway mark is finally here. You got to think some of these guys are going to need to go into the pits soon. Fuel would have to start being a concern. That inside line still looks more cooperative. That would be why Bryce Meddings is considered our race leader at the moment. Devon Stove, leader of the outside line. That inside line just showing more signs of cooperation. go. I think both lines could probably settle down a little bit and just group up and keep doing what they're doing, but these guys know best, and their strategy is best for them. Have to wait and see. That's Ben Vickers in the 7 car there. He's in 10th place. Let's get back up to the lead for a little bit. I'm just very curious about their fuel conditions and where they're at. So we'll sort of stick with them for a lap or so and just see what's going on up the front. Bryce Meddings, he's still the inside line race leader. Devon Stove has the outside line, but he's back behind the second place pusher of Nigel Seidel. He's trying to get that line running with Bryce Meddings. 14 of Reese Dickinson back there. Dixon. Not sure exactly the correct pronunciation, Reese, but I hope I get it right. All right, they are now 3 wide back there for, what's that, 4th, 5th, and 6th. Looks like 4th place, the middle one got out of it. He's now our race leader on the outside, sorry, our outside line leader. That is the 98 of Stephen Williams. Bryce Meddings, Devon Stove, and Nigel Seidel. That is the 1, 2, 3 inside line. It's almost like they heard me and went, what, Bob, you want us to settle down? And they went 3 wide and did all this fun stuff. Okay, you guys know best. No, they are on the track for a reason. I am in the booth for a reason. I do enjoy racing trucks and I can race them, but I'm not sure I would be super competitive in this league itself. So the names you do see throughout certain late night Australian night truck officials. Well, I used to, but yeah, certainly they are a little bit better than dear old Bobbeth TV. Strength of field over the 37 races is 1,961. In fact, I sort of sit around the 1,000 mark. I got up to like 12, 1,300 a while back and pretty okay with that, but no, didn't keep it. Like Draft Masters too much. Alright, Stove is alongside Stephen Williams there. 2nd and 3rd side by side. Second place is going to have a little bit of an issue coming up because they do have the 85 there in front of him. That is going to be Ryan Preston. But the 98, he's going to have to move down a little bit as they approach. The 85 will try and stay up as high as he can, but they are coming to the turn, so it is tricky to stay up as high as you need to be. But 3 lanes, looks like the boys are going to do it. The 85 up into the wall a little bit, but nothing too crazy. Definitely do not want to affect someone else's race. All right, down that back stretch for, let's see, the 79th time into 3 and 4. Just 56 laps to go as the boys come out of 4. They're going to go through the turns here past pit entrance and over that start-finish line. We're going to get the 80th lap underway. Still 56 to come. Look at that inside line. That is deep. And then you've got two cars alongside up the front. You've got two cars all the way back, probably 12th, 13th position. Find a gap, fill it. If no one's going to race with you up on the outside line, you're not going to beat that inside team. It is 5 on 2. It's 3 on 2, almost 5 on 2 at the moment up here. And it may look like that 98's got the lead, and he does officially. He will not hold on to it, especially down that backstretch. As these cars just have different levels of acceleration when it comes to drafting. Right, the 98's starting to run away a little bit. He's got Ryan Preston. Thought Ryan was going to give him a bit of a push there. But no, Ryan up on the high line there. Evan Stove, Nigel Sowdell back there. I think Henry King, Reese Dixon. There's a number of cars. A lot of them dropping down below the line. Looks like some of them having to get in to the pits. Stephen Williams going to sacrifice that race lead. So it looks like currently 7th to 13th in the pits because the rest of the field behind them a lap or two down, some up to 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. So some of them looking to get those laps back as quickly as possible. Some of them going into the pits again, well not again, but after that last lap, a few of those gaining positions. Our race leader at the moment is Andy J. Barber. He's in the 5 machine. Get up to Andy. There's Andy there. So while he has the race lead and a lot of cars... Oh, caution has come out. Looks like the 85 involved in that. So we'll key up on him. That is Ryan Preston. And let's just watch this one and see if we can see what happens. The 058 down below the red. He floats up a little bit. Looked like the other car. The 11. Oh, no. Jason Holdsworth looking to sort of try and just push on past. And unfortunately, collision. Second caution out. 51 to go. All right, as we come around, cars start to line up. 50 to go, so just 2 more laps before we get this race restarted. Enough time for the boys to get in and out of the pits, get those repairs done, get that fuel and tyre situation sorted out. Then as we hit 2 to green, 1 to green, sorry, we'll start to 2 wide line up and get this second restart underway. Alright, it is 1 degree in the cars, so we'll start to line up. I'm just trying to get a bit of an idea where the pace car is. The leader is, where's the 5, but it's recording the 5 as the leader. Let's see, I think it will be as they start to sort through, or maybe the 42 of Lachlan Urquijo. A lot of those cars going through. Oh, the 28 and the 13, almost a bit of an accident there. 28 checked up for the pace car. No need to do that. All right, here we go. We're starting to get these cars lined up. It looks like it's going to be Andy J. Barber, Lachlan Urquijo on the front row. Ruben Phelps and Matthew Raymond, second row. Devon Stove, Adam Tice on that third row. Fourth row, Stephen Williams and Bryce Meddings. Fifth row, Nigel Seidel and Reese Dickinson. Sixth row, Ben Vickers and Daniel Stevens, Alan Stelbovics and Scott on that seventh row. And that ends the lead lap. We've got Kelvin Clark 1 lap down. Behind him, Gareth Anderson, Tim Blundell, Chris Ferris, Brent Hobbs, Ethan Curran, and then 2 laps down, Brian Blundell, Wilson Johnson and Taylor. Stuart L. Patterson, Taylor and Wayne Taylor 3 laps down, along with Stuart L. Patterson, Adam Holland 3 laps down, Aaron Gilbert, also Cam Galley, Marty Mitchell and Adam Malone 6 and 7 laps down. Looks like Jason Holdsworth still sorting out some issues at 11 laps down as we get this race back underway. The 06, the 42, that's Andy J. Barber, Ruben Phelps, Lachlan Urquijo here in the Australian Nascar eSeries. Bobbers TV on Facebook, Twitch and YouTube. You decide how you want to watch the Friday night trucks powered by Beat the Dark. It has been 89 laps of action so far, 2 cautions, still 47 laps to go, so you got to think at least one more pit stop to come. So a lot of strategy still to be played, but the boys, they've raced cordially for 90 odd laps. You got to feel like that patience has to be wearing thin. These guys want to start getting themselves into spots, get themselves into position where they can race this one home. And that's what the 5 in the 06, Andy J. Barber and Ruben Phelps are thinking. Got a few cars back there. It looks like lap traffic. Gareth Anderson, Lachlan Urquijo's there. Kelvin Clark, Matthew Raymond, Brian J. Blundell, Tim Blundell supporting him. Aaron Gilbert and Wilson Stoves there. Behind Devon Stove, Adam Tice. Just 13 cars still in the lead lap. I think we've still got 30-something cars in this race, though, so that is insane. Like about 34, I think, still. And that is just amazing. That is great. Only by this stage, you have lost a few. We've only had 2 cautions, but even then, they've been. The first one was considerable. The second one, pretty bad as well. So yeah, it's good that these guys still running. Points matter, laps matter. So get out there and keep going as long as you can. Race till the wheels fall off. What did I say the other day? I saw someone in the race car drive. They said, I'm going to put my foot down until I either see the checkered flag or God. And that is pretty much where we're getting to in this race. Oh, that red line action, a little bit sneaky there. The 06, the 00, sorry, of Gareth Anderson. I thought he took the race lead, but he's actually lapped traffic. He's in 14th position. He is racing for spots on the track. Oh, there has been a crash. See if we can go to it. No, it doesn't want to. Thought I saw it just then. Or did I miss it somehow? Oh, there we go. The 98 across the nose. Oh, back up onto the track. That is not fun. The 4 was pushed back up into oncoming traffic. Looked like a little bit of lack of control there. That has brought out our 3rd caution. You got to wonder, as I said, I can't remember how much a full tank of fuel would be in one of these things. But I imagine it's around 40 laps, just because whenever I race fixed, they seem to be 40, and if you race 80, you have to stop for fuel. And with 42 laps, that might not be quite enough if some people have gone in sooner rather than later. And yeah, might be able to fill it up for maybe, say, 20, 25, 30 laps most. And they're still going to have to pit. And having to pit within like 10 to go is going to be very tricky. Without a caution, you don't want any more cautions. 3 cautions is enough. That gives them enough random times to get in and out of the pits. But yeah, that's certainly made the next 40 laps going to be very interesting. All right, while they pace around, guys, I will be back in just one moment. All right, we are 1 to green. Those cars are lined up 2 by 2. It is Andy Barber and Ruben Phelps. Excuse me. They are still on the front row. Lachlan Akijo and Matthew Raymond back there on that 2nd row. 3rd row, Devon Stove with Scott. On that 4th row, Storbovics, Alex Storbovics and Adam Tice. Reese Dixon and Daniel Stevens. That rounds out the 10. Bryce Meddings and Gareth Anderson, 6th row. 7th row, Kelvin Clark and Ben Vickers. Stephen Williams rounds out the 15th car, still on the lead lap. We are going to be on the 97th lap. It will be 39 to go. We are so close to that 100th lap. These guys have been marathon racing here tonight. Now, the dangers with pack racing, like they have been, though, is if you get too close to the finish of the race or there's a caution late, then you're very grouped up in those last few laps, and it's really hard to guarantee that if you start that restart in at first, that you're going to be the first car over that line, because there's a lot of cars just vying for a lot of different real estate. Andy Barber off to a great start there. Lachlan Akijo is going to drop in behind him. Looks like above them though, Ruben Phelps. In the 06, Devon Stove down below them. Then Matthew Raymond, he's behind Ruben. As we get to 38 to go, the 98th lap. Inside line has been the winner all night. We have seen flashes of brilliance from the outside line, but they just don't consolidate it well. Not to say the current outside line, but just the outside line in general. Whoever's run it, it's just, I don't know. It's a tough line to run, I feel, but the inside line looking a lot deeper at the moment. 6 cars on the outside line, if I'm not mistaken, at least 7 or 8 on the inside. This is my view of the situation up here in Bob's TV tower. Look at that 5, look at that 42. If the 42 could just get back up there and keep pushing before the 06 and the 83 possibly, or the 80, solidify something there. The 83, the 80's on the inside line, then yeah, I don't know. It might be time to just spread it out a bit. Depends on how confident you are and how much fuel remains. All right. Oh, one of the trucks up into the wall. Looks like he vanished as well. So we do know there is a sorry, I lost my train of thought there. I was so shocked by what happened. Car hit the wall, come back down into the outside line. They got a bit loose, and I reckon it was only because of the incident limits imposed on the league. So we've spoken about them before. Four points for contacting a car, 2 for the wall, 1 for grass, and 2 if your car spins out of control, if you do lose physical control of it. So I feel like they said it was 9, which doesn't leave you a lot of room for some incorrect hits. You've got to be very clean, but that car hit that wall and disappeared, and I would wager that unfortunately they are out. That was Wilson, the 9 car, by the looks of it, as he falls back down the field lap by lap. Right, we are 31 to go. 105 laps in through 1 and 2. 105 times they've done this drive down the backstretch. How insane is that? Andy Barber, we see him in the race lead. He's got Lachlan Urquijo back there in second behind him. Above Lachlan is Ruben Phelps. Then Devon Stove, sorry, he's back there. Matthew Raymond, 4th and 5th on the leaderboard, but actually 5th and 4th on the relative. Sorry, I felt my voice starting to go, so I'm just grabbing a coffee. So just a quick little sip here and there with 30 to go. Around 100 seems to be my limit. All right, 29 to come, 107 in. Let's jump back a little bit and have a little bit more look at some of the other racing. A lot more than 13 cars on your screen right now, but only 13 cars on the lead lap. There's Andy J. Barber, Lachlan Urquijo, Ruben Phelps, Devon Stove, Matthew Raymond, Alex Delbovics, Daniel Stevens, Gareth Anderson, Ben Vickers, Reese Dickinson, Bryce Meddings, Kelvin Clark, and Stephen Williams. We do still have a number of cars in the race. A few guys have pulled out. We see there that Adam Holland, along with Wilson, Scott. Let's see who else. Chris Ferris have all unfortunately parked their trucks for the night. Still a number of guys also in the pits. I did see Jason Holdsworth on the list. Adam Tice, Brian and Tim Blundell, Brent Hobbs. So a couple of those guys who are laps down are going to be able to use this time to try and get a few positions back up. Some extra points, always great. Currently riding along with the 0-0 Gareth Anderson. Will jump back to Ben Vickers, who's in the 7 car behind him up high. You can see there. This looks like the outside line really starting to take a bit of note, being a little bit more cooperative there. We see there that Lachlan Akijo's moved into the lead. Ruben Phelps in second. They are clearly ahead of Daniel Stevens, who's in fourth place down there. Third place down on the inside line lead. Looks like that inside line, though, starting to pull their finger back out, get this racing happening. The 6 and the 58 there. We're talking about... Who are we talking about? The 6 and the 58. That's Wayne Taylor and Bryce Meddings. Now, Wayne Taylor, he's in 16th. Who did I say the other one was? Yeah, 6. Bryce Meddings, sorry. He's in like 11th place. Now, the guy in front of him is a lap down, a lot of laps down, and about 3 or 4 positions behind him. But you could see there that he is quite happy to push, because that is draft, that is speed. That's going to allow Bryce to sort of pick off a few people and make his way up through the field. We've only got 24 laps to go. Lap 112 will be at an end soon. 23 more to go, in fact. The Australian Nascar Series Friday night trucks powered by Beat the Dark. Really in what we would call the dying stages. We'd look at 10 to go, 5 to go in a dirt race, which is more prevalent on Bobbeth TV, Mud Mules TV. As say 10 to go, 5 to go is the point in the race where things are about to get interesting. I think it's going to be around here, 23 to 15 to go, probably within the next 6 to 7 laps. Look for some of these guys to really start solidifying spots and make moves. Like I said, use guys who are lap down to use their draft to gain positions, because people see lap cars and they generally don't worry about them too much, because letting them by is not going to make you lose a spot, and sometimes you can sneak by with them. Have done that many a time. Reese Dixon, he is in 8th place. He's got 7 other cars up there in front of him. 4 of them are on the inside line, 3 of them on the outside line, and he is sticking low by the looks of it. He's going to go play by the numbers game. 85 and the 28 there look like just a little bit of conflicting lines. Look like the 28 is on the inside line right there on your screens. The 85, the 85 on the inside, 28 on the outside. The black and the blue, white, and purple conflicting lines there, and almost a little bit of contact, but by the time I finally describe what was going on, it looks like they've tidied it up, kept it going. Up the front, it is Daniel Stevens, Lachlan Akijo, Ruben Phelps, Andy Barber, Gareth Anderson, and Matthew Raymond. Let's jump up and just have a look. We've still got 19 more laps to come. 117th lap underway. But just wanted to see what sort of, if there's any intimidation, if there's any gameplay going on, any strategy. see it, just the lines look just a little bit more racy now as we start to wind down. 18 to go. Couple of little, the outside line not really looking in sync. Some a bit high, some a bit low. Some looking for that middle run if they get the speed. So what happens is, in a NASCAR race with the drafts, there's a few choices you get when you are drafting, when you are racing in the line. You will build speed. Now, that means sometimes you will build speed faster than the car in front of you, and then you've got to decide what you want to do with that. Do you, A, pop up above it and try and pass him? B, let off the accelerator a little bit and just let it wind down? Or C, something dumb? And look, we know B's the right answer. Sometimes people choose A, sometimes people choose C, but just depends on what stage of the race you're in. But knowing when to kill your speed, very, very important skill when racing NASCAR, especially trucks. Going as humanly fast as possible is not always the best strategy. All right, the 57, Daniel Stevens, quite comfortable at the moment in the lead. His quickest lap, 37.99. Quickest lap in the race so far, 33.69. That is Brent Hobbs back in 30th. I believe Brent has actually retired, or is in the pits. He's in the pits at the moment. There he is, there's 64. I can see him in the pits. So if there is one more pit stop, I don't know. As I say, I don't know the pit window. I don't know if it is 40 to 45 laps or a full tank, but I feel like it is. So I feel like there's one more pit stop to come, and if it comes under green flag, it is going to be very interesting. Ethan Curran, he's only one lap off of the lead lap. Nigel Seidel, Wayne Taylor, Aaron Gilbert, Cam Galley, they're all back there just a few laps down. A green flag pit would allow them to drag back some of those laps. But in regards to the 57 and our race leader, Daniel Stevens, the only one that knows how much fuel he has is him. And I'm sure he knows what he's doing with it. Looks like that. Is that the 42? Lachlan Akijo has moved up to the high line. He's got a push out of 06 Ruben Phelps. And looks like Andy J. Barber and Daniel Stevens have some competition on those front two rows. As we get to 13 to go, we are coming up on a little bit of lap traffic. I do see at least the 97 up ahead of him. Maybe the 167 as well. So we'll have to see how this goes with 12 to go. But this is it, folks. This is pretty much what they race for. If you're not where you want to be now, it's going to be awfully hard to get there by 12 laps. Look at that. Those two teammates just dropping below the red-yellow line onto the infield, basically. Allow the racing to continue. It is still the top 13. And it is basically those cars we see on our screens right now. They are the lead lap. 11 to go. Lap 125. Oh, no. Hit the wrong button there, guys. I am so sorry. Alright, just a reminder, this is the Australian Nascar eSeries Friday night trucks powered by Beat the Dark. Mental health matters. We are 10 to go. We're at Hotlanta Motor Speedway round 2. And it is 19 rounds to go, but it is heating up off the get-go. These boys not leaving anything to chance. They are wanting to build a foundation. The 42, Lachlan Okijo, he is racing well alongside Daniel Stevens. We know, though, with these finishes, sometimes, unfortunately, you could be leading the second last lap. You could be leading the last lap, but you may not be the car that finishes first. The racing gets a little bit scary and hectic at that stage. All the boys are crossing that start-finish line for 8 to go, 128 laps in. Let's just visit some of our fallen people. No, I thought if we went to the pit lane, we might have been able to see some of those cars, but not everyone, unfortunately, makes it to the end. 37 came out. There's about 30 still remain, maybe less. Actually, I would say 25 based on that count there. Looking at the laps down, 7 to go. You can see them starting to find those lines. .57 and the 5. That's Daniel Stevens and Andy Barber. They're going to make a late charge back for the lead. Lachlan and Ruben were running well up on the high line. Oh my gosh, I thought that was going to be contact between the 5 and the 42 in second and third. But they know what they're doing. They are racing close, hard and fast. Side drafting will get you there as well. You have a car beside you and you close that air bubble down, you can take some of their speed with you. New race leader in Lachlan Akijo. He is off into the lead again. Can he get the 06 back up into second place with him? Currently, Daniel Stevens is in second. Ruben Phelps, in third. The idea, I've spoken about it before, the idea is to get the car behind you in front of the guy and the inside line so you can drop down. You effectively make the inside line leader third place with you and your pusher, and you can run this most of the way home and try and get that little bit of an advanced lead so that there's no decision making from some of the other positions. But right now, it is pretty much side by side racing here. Inside line, outside line action. 06 and the 57 have come very close a couple of times. And oh, here we go. Oh, it looks like there might have been a car sent off the field. Some of them coming back up over the red. Lap traffic there just dropping down as well with 4 to go. It's going to be 3 to go as we get to 133. As the boys hit that start-finish line. Barney will reach for that white flag. Oh, no, he's going to reach for the yellow flag, I reckon. I did see one of those cars shoot up into the outfield wall. Whether he got it down below that yellow before there was any sort of real obstruction. Looks like he has. No yellows out. Not sure who that was. We'll check the relative and see if we can see anyone that's shot down the field a little bit, but I can't. 2 to go. We have raced 134 laps, and it comes down to this. 2 more laps. If we can finish this one white flag lap, it will be a finish. There is a caution here on the second last lap. We can go to a green-white check, and I believe we have 2 attempts at one of those before it'll go to a caution. But right now, the 42 of Lachlan Akijo is our race leader. The 06 of Ruben Phelps trying to push him to a win with 1 to go. Daniel Stevens and Andy J. Barber. Oh my gosh, they are getting tight into 6, 7 cars. 3, well, it looks like the 00 of Gareth Anderson has abandoned the line that got him there, the inside line. No, he's back down there. He heard me. Oh, but the fourth guy on the line, is he moving up? No. I feel like a lot of the guys back, anyone 6th and 7th there, Gareth Anderson and Bryce Meddings, I feel like they feel like the high line is the best line as we get to the finish. Could you tell who won? I couldn't. That was very close. It looks like it was Daniel Stevens, Andy J. Barber second, Lachlan Akijo third, Gareth Anderson, Mr. Anderson. Bryce Meddings fourth and fifth, Ruben Phelps, Stephen Williams, Matthew Raymond, Kelvin Clark, Alex Stelbovics finishing the 10th. Finishing out the 10th positions. My gosh, Bob. Ben Vickers, Devon Stove, Reese Dickinson, and Ethan Curran. Nigel Seidel, that's 11 to 15th. 16th to 20th was Cam Gilly, Aaron Gilbert, Wayne Taylor, Adam Johnson, and Stuart Patterson behind them. Finishing order: Marty Mitchell, Adam Malone, Henry King, Ryan Preston, and Nathan Button. That's 21st to 25. 26 to 30 is Adam Tice, Scott, Brian and Tim Blundell, Wilson. Then we've got Brett Hobbs, Adam Holland, Chris Ferris, Jason Holdsworth, Ron A. Thompson, Paul Curran, and Darren McKenzie rounding out the 30 to 37 mark. Well, that race is there. There's the 57. Daniel Stevens getting his burnout in. You've earned it, son. That was a great, tough race. All right, let's jump over to the Discord. See if we got some guys ready for a chat. All right, we've got Lachlan starting in 33rd of 37. That still sounds massive to say, but with a 135 lap race, it's not a big concern. But finishing third, that is not quite hard charger. I think Andy got it with 35 to second, but
I was going to say, you got Gareth and Andy on, both who I think picked up a big chunk of positions. So, cheers, Bob. How you going?
Good, man. Good. Now that 135 laps here at Hotlanta, that is insane. Now I tried to sort of calculate what I thought the pit window was, and I sort of went with what a rough fixed race would be, and that's usually 40-45 laps. Was that around the rough sort of max fuel capacity? What were you racing at?
It was about 55 to 62, depending on where you ran in the pack, where you were lifting, how hard you were driving. I think there was a few boys at one point who were trying to sort of manipulate it as well and backing off at the front. So it was probably stretched out a bit. I think the most someone was about 63. So it's quite a big fuel tank, but it wasn't enough to do it in one stop.
One and a bit. I know, obviously going in with we had 3 cautions, but the first one around 22, so that was a little bit earlier than I guess you really wanted to go in. But a lot of you went in and went, nah, look, let's just chuck those 20 odd laps of fuel back in and see what happens. And there was a lot of green flag racing there. So watching a lot of the 2x2, like the side by side and the line racing. How do you lock yourself in for that sort of run where it's just like it could be full? That first run from, say, first caution to second caution, I think it was 40 to 60, almost 40 50 laps. How do you lock yourself in and try to just do the same thing each lap and not make a mistake? What goes into that?
Oh, I mean, it's kind of. I mean, for me, I was out the back, hanging off the back with my teammates. We're just pacing ourselves, trying to get as much, keep as much fuel in the tank as possible, shorten the last pit stop, that sort of stuff. But I think it's sort of something you learn over time. I mean, I know I've been doing this stuff for 4 or 5 years now, and Matty Ray, my team boss, he's been doing it for even longer. So it's you got to teach yourself. I mean, the first race I ever did, I got absolutely bored out of my mind in the first Daytona race I ever did. But I wasn't thinking about all the other stuff that goes through your head. Now you got to think about tires, fuel, cars around you. Around here, definitely more than anything, the tyres are really important. I mean, it's funny. It's a very, very unique super speedway in that you've got tyre wear, but you're flat out the whole time.
Yeah, exactly, and it's more a sort of a sign of it's not until late in that race, and if you have an early caution or you take shoes early or whatever, you may not really fully see the effects of it in that, like, and especially with the inside outside line racing. Obviously, outside line on a super speedway not as beneficial as some of the shorter tracks, and we will see some of those. But yeah, no, definitely looked like tire wear not a big concern, but certainly something you had to consider.
It was probably worse here than you think. I know after our 50, 60 lap run, we had 65% on the right front. So it was
Jesus.
There's a significant amount of tyre wear.
Yeah, wow.
And
a lot more than I expected.
I mean, in that last run, the reason I sort of lost out to Dan and Andy was because the car was a bit worn out. And I got a little bit of an awkward bump on the entry to 3, which got it loose because the rears were going. So the tyre wear was significant. And I think that was probably a symptom of us deciding to go probably maybe 5 or 10 laps early. I think if we held out a little bit longer, we might have been able to coordinate that a little bit better. But no, I'm happy with third. It's a good result. A couple of top 5s in this league can never go astray.
Yep. Now you're talking obviously that early pit was the pit under green that a lot of the guys took. I saw Jason and a few other boys going in as well, and it's that type of move. It's like as I said about some of the guys who were a few like not to pick names out, but Malone and Patterson Johnson. Some of those guys were back in the 30s for a lot of that race, but just purely by staying out there and just keeping those laps green and keep racing. There's guys that'll drop out, you'll get positions, and this early in the season, you need that foundation. I feel so. To some of the guys that might have bailed out early, if they could have stayed in and maybe just sat out that repair and raced those extra laps, could have finished a bit better. But
Oh
no.
yeah, definitely. But at the same time, it can be a little bit demoralising, especially around the super speedway. And I think there was a minimum speed as well, so it makes it hard to. Yeah, but
To
no, it
get
was
in and
good.
get out, yeah.
Yeah, but no, yeah, it was good. Big congratulations to everybody. I mean, this week it was a lot cleaner racing than it was last week, and I think it showed. And I think props to everybody. I know there's a few comments about the possible incident point limit, but I think the fact that your top 12, top 15 were all under that limit and drove really, really well tonight. I think everybody who managed to finish on the lead lap should give themselves a pat on the back.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, in saying that, like I mapped it out last race, 3 cautions. When you sort of lose a couple, very few off the first caution, second caution, depending on if it was a big one, and it was an accordion, through the track. And I think the fact that a lot of the guys did stick around was a credit, and having those 13 guys on the lead lap, but still a lot of guys being able to race, a lot of those guys who were able to, so we saw some guys. Bryce was in there at the end purely because he jumped behind a guy who was about 3 laps behind him and about 4 positions behind him on the leaderboard, and just stuck with him and just raced his way, through the field. So no, a good partner, regardless where they are, always great. Now, off to Las Vegas next week, 134 laps, one less than here, but I know Las Vegas a little bit harder to run a good, fast, full throttle line. So tire wear and throttle control
Yeah, you can't.
definitely going to be on the mind next week. You looking forward to that one?
I'm looking forward to getting away. I mean, as much as I love the super speedways because they're a different kind of, a very, very unique kind of racing format, it's nice to get back to the more traditional stuff next week.
Definitely.
And I'm quietly confident we've got a good bit of pace in the trucks going forward. So and big shout out to my teammates Ruben and Maddie tonight. They did really, really well, and unfortunately got boxed in at the end there, and everything kind of didn't quite work out the way we wanted it to, but to come away with a podium and 3 in the 10 is very nice.
Yep. No, Ruben ran great. He was a very loyal pusher out there, and that's one thing as a broadcaster, as a truck driver myself, I do love to call out because it's loyalty to get you there in the end. So no, give him a shout out for that. Good on you.
Definitely.
All right, man. Before we let you go, friends, family, and sponsors, who else do you want to give a shout out to?
A big shout out to the side of the big truck sponsor there. You got Moondog on the side of the truck. He's looking after us this year. He does a great job. He's a sign rider in Adelaide. So give him a look, give him a check out. It's Moondog at 1956. So
awesome.
And
awesome.
then just the teammates and yourself for putting on a broadcast. It's always fun watching back when you do a good race. So thanks for putting it on for us.
No, definitely, man.
And the league runners as well. Nigel and Jason have done a phenomenal job, and it's awesome to have a brand new league get off the ground so well and be so popular.
Yeah, for sure. And that's a big credit to them. Big credit to the drivers, to the lineup. You guys do a great job. All right, my man, I will let you go. Congratulations, best of luck for next week, and we'll see you again next Friday.
Yeah, cheers, Bob. We'll see you then.
No worries. All right, that was Lachlan Urquijo. He is our third place finisher. Our second place finisher could have easily been first, could have easily been fourth, could have easily been fifth, but came from 35th and finished second. What a run, Andy.
Yeah, what a run. It was pretty interesting. Lockie's in there in P3 if you want to grab him.
I literally just spoke to him.
Oh, okay, cool. No, interesting. Starting from the back tonight. I kind of learnt my lesson from last week, starting up towards the front. So just thought I'd kind of get a bit of a read on the race and, dodged a few incidents that did happen. But yeah, unfortunately, my teammates succumbed to some incidents as well. So it's kind of bittersweet.
Yeah, no, definitely. And look, it's one of those things. People, there's three schools of thought. There's you qualify and finish where you start. Well, four really. Qualify and finish. Start where you qualify and bum it a bit so you finish at the back of the qualifiers. Don't qualify or start from the pits. And we saw 30 guys qualify. You were one of the guys that did not. 135 laps. I think that's plenty of time to worry about where you need to be and just sort of take it easy. You can be a little bit more relaxed. You can react to things a bit easier, and then before you know it, 50 70 laps have done, and you're racing your way in the mid pack, and you're sort of at the back of that pack and repeat. So no, it looked like that was the run. Now I say this every week, any NASCAR race, anytime I'm on the track, a loyal partner will get you a podium finish every time. And you seem pretty loyal. You had some loyal pushes. There's a few times there with the outside line. It was kind of funny. I'd sort of pick on the outside line saying that they weren't really sort of being cohesive, and the inside line was. But then, as soon as I sort of say that, the outside line would pull their finger out, and then the inside line would get a bit, indecisive. Was there any really one line you preferred? Were you more comfortable down low or up high?
Probably down low at that stage of the race. I mean, those last 35 laps were white knuckle with Lockie and Ruben on the outside there. So yeah, great drive by those guys too. And yeah, just trying to hang in there. And I'm usually the pusher in my team anyway, so I'm pretty good at it. But yeah, I did have a look around and I had no friends, so kind of had to fight for myself. But yeah, definitely teamed up with Dan there and helped him on that inside line. And I guess with the fluctuations of the two lines, we were kind of seeing what the outside line had. They would kind of push a little bit, and then I'd push Dan more, and then it's kind of a trade off to see what we had. And then yeah, at the end, 2 laps to go, we'll just flat strap the whole
Just
way, and
went for it.
yeah, just went for it, and whatever happened happened. But yeah, to finish second is pretty good.
That was a nice clean finish, and it's always good when you see them 3 4 wide. It's like literally eight positions, but it's 2 cars deep type of situation. Always exciting, and I did not think Atlanta was going to disappoint. Now Las Vegas next week. Not really a similar, so a bit more of a dogleg start finish, and a little bit harder on. I think the entry in 1 and 2 is a little bit different to the entry in 3 and 4, and tire wear is going to be a big consideration, along with throttle control. How do you think the team's going to go there? How do you think the boys you're going to go there?
Yeah, we tend to do pretty well at the 1.5 milers. You're right there. It's a lot different to the super speedway in terms of the tire wear as well. So tires will come into it and play more of a factor into the race, whereas tonight it didn't so much come into it. It was more so just making sure you're covered for fuel and getting to the end. But no, we're looking forward to it. 1.5 miles tracks are probably one of our stronger points as well. So, we'll carry that momentum forward into that race and see what we have. And by all means, if we have the racing that we had tonight, I mean, it's one thing to finish where you did, but also all the other drivers around you as well, finishing nice and clean and racing respectfully. So that's what we're all here for, and that's what I love. So yeah, definitely come Las Vegas. We'll roll the dice again and see where we end up.
Look, can't wait to see it. It's going to be a fun Friday night. I'm really enjoying these racing. This racing. It's so glad I picked up this gig because you guys are just entertaining as heck. You're smart in the first half. You're reserved in that second half at the start. But then once you get to that bit where you need to just lay it all out there, there's not really anything left. At the end of it, it's you guys left it all out there. You really do go for it, and it's great, and I appreciate that. Before I let you go and obviously relax finally, friends, family, sponsors, who do you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, just shout out firstly to the podium tonight, first, second, and third. Well done on a great race, and the guys around us, awesome, respectful race at the end there. Yeah, the Southern Stars guys, our sponsors, Mish's Excel Garage, Tiona Holiday Parks, RBI Trading Cards, Twistex, and yeah, a couple of others in there, I think. But also you guys for the broadcast, we love going back and watching it post race, and the guys that set up the league, Nigel, Jace, the guys that work tirelessly in and out during the week, answering all our annoying questions. And yeah, no, very much look forward to next week.
Definitely, man. Definitely. Well, congratulations yet again. Second in a very tough field, a very long race. So well done. Can't wait to see you next week on the screen. Best of luck with every other race you've got in between then.
Appreciate it.
All right, man. Best have a good night. All right, that was Andy J. Barber, finished second here tonight. That's going to leave us with the last, where am I going with that? With our last person to speak with. That is the first place finisher of Daniel Stevens. Started fifth in the race, probably spent a lot of the time up there, which is very rare because, like, as I say, it's just said to a couple of the other guys there, Andy, also said that, starting at the back of a longer race like that, Dan, it's a little bit easier on yourself. You don't have to race as hard until the latest stage, but you went qualified fifth, started in fifth, raced mostly in that top 10 the entire time, to come home to the win. Was there a game plan involved? How was your race?
Well, after last week's episode, I was the game plan was to pretty much stay out of trouble as much as I possibly could do. So it started off well, started up in the top 10 area in fifth place. And then I got tagged in that first caution, which gave me 45 seconds of repairs to do. So pretty much I thought, okay, I'll start from the back again and then just chill out at the back for a bit and then make my way up to the front when it's time to go. And it all worked out. Yeah.
Now you were a part in those later stages. You were a part of some great inside-outside line racing. As I was saying to Andy, it sort of seemed like when the inside line had their act together, the outside line was sort of struggling to keep up, and then once they got it worked out, the inside line would struggle to sort of come up with something to stop the outside line, and then they wouldn't. You trade lines like that. Definitely looked like the outside line was your preferred line in when I did see up the front those battles. Does that feel correct? Do you feel like if you could have got to that inside line with Andy as well, you would have gone down there?
Well, yeah, my preferred line was the outside line. The car was set up for the outside. I pretty much could just foot flatten the whole time, and it'll just handle.
Yeah.
But when that high line got away and the low line dropped back, and I thought to myself, oh, these guys are going to hang up high for a while. And I saw Andy coming up on the inside. I was like, no, I'm going to drop down in front of him and give the low line a go. And honestly, it was the right move. It worked out.
It definitely did. It definitely did. Now, coming to the end of the race, obviously, last week I've seen it in a couple of other NASCAR leagues that I've broadcast and races I've been in. That scramble to the finish line can go so many different ways. Tonight, it was pretty much like almost the top 10s, in two rows, so almost four wide. Do you just look ahead, put the foot down, and not worry about where it is, and just hope that you get to the finish line in time? What's going through your mind as you're coming sort of in up to the start finish line in a situation like that?
The only cars that I'm keeping my eye on is the car directly behind me and the car directly on my outside or inside, depending on where I am. That's the only two cars I'm worried about.
That definitely did, and look, it's I think because I know I'm someone who does overthink it a bit. I've had a guy who always likes to give me crap, and he's if you're worried about what's in your mirror, then they're in your mind, and I know that that's something that can happen, especially in the trucks, because you just like I'm just trying to make sure I'm in the right spot and also avoid everything and predict something that may not happen. It's just there's so much going through your head. It's tough, but now you guys made this race 135 laps look pretty damn easy. Just the three cautions, two of them were sort of real estate deals. I don't know how they were called on the track, but it just looked like there was just a little bit of midline and low line racing where they crossed over a little bit, rear and front touch. But other than that, it looked like good, solid 2x2x2 sort of racing.
It is. This track is one of the best for 2x2 racing. It's you just can't move around on the track too much because you will get that slight overlap and then you'll get turned. It's just pretty much keep your car straight, keep it pointing in the right direction, and you'll have a great race.
That's it. Now, I've spoken to the other two boys about it. One of my favorite tracks coming up next week, Vegas. Obviously, a little bit shorter than this one, but definitely the layout a lot different. Different lines coming into 1 and 2 as to compared to say 3 and 4 in terms of entry and exit, throttle control, tire wear's a factor. What's your sort of, obviously don't give away your game plan, but what are your thoughts coming into Vegas? So there are a few things you know you're going to need to achieve.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, I'm not going to make the next couple of
Oh
rounds because,
no.
I know I got previous engagements, as you could say.
Yep.
Yeah, so I like Vegas. It's very very different to this one, but we'll see how we go. I don't know. I think I'll be missing about 3 or 4 weeks coming up,
Well,
so we'll see.
well, we look forward to having you back on our screens. If we can't have you on the screens, look, if whatever you're doing on the Friday nights is a little bit dull or not going on too much, just grab the phone out, jump onto to Bob's TV, and check out the racing from the other side for a bit. But in all seriousness, it's this league is great. You guys, awesome NASCAR truck drivers. Competition's really good. There's a lot of good side by side racing, a lot of good line racing, and for that I thank you and congratulate you on picking up a win here tonight at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Now, before I let you go, Daniel, friends, family, sponsors, who would you like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, cheers, man. Well, first off, I just wanted to give a shout out to Andy for the for pushing me for that last 20 laps or so. That's top notch, Blake, for doing that for me. Middle Finger Racing, all the lads there. What else we got? Polaris Off Road and Indian Motorcycles, Virtual Car Art, and Aussie Signs and Designs. And also, sorry, Mad As Designs as well.
Badass designs. Geez, a lot goes into a successful team, and it's always good to have a lot behind you. And clear that with that sort of support, you're going to go far, Dan. Look, wish you all the best of success in whatever other races you do have going on in this wonderful sim of ours. And look, we can't wait to see you back on our screen. So obviously, yeah, we'll see you soon. But yeah, look, when you are around, don't be a stranger. We'll have you in the booth anytime.
Sweet as, Bob. Thank you very much.
All right, brother. Good luck.
Catch up.
All right, that was Dan Stevens. That wraps up the second round of the Australian NASCAR eSeries. Oh, throwing things around in the studio. Friday night trucks powered by Beat the Dark. Mental health matters. Like the boys said, big shout out to Nige and Jace for putting together such a great league. Big shout out to all the drivers for a great race, especially Lachlan, Andy, and Daniel. Congratulations on that top three. All right, that wraps up this broadcasting a week for Bobith TV. We'll be back again. We'll be back again Wednesday night. Wednesday night US, so Thursday morning Australian. If you are an Australian viewer and you want to check out some of the US stuff, it's usually around 11:30, 12 p.m. On Thursdays and Friday mornings. So obviously just like and follow one of the pages. You've got YouTube, you've got Facebook, you've got Twitch, whichever one you prefer, and you'll get notifications as to when we are live. All right, guys and girls, thank you so much for watching the Australian NASCAR eSeries here tonight on Bobith TV. My name is Bob. I am out.